This ain't nothing for you to eat. I know every time I get something in my hand, you think it's time for you to eat, but I'm sorry, buddy. This ain't something for you to eat. Hey everybody, welcome to the great outdoors of Colquitt County. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry this video didn't fall on the date that it was supposed to. We've been trying to put videos out every week, but we had a few things happen, had a couple of hot jobs in the shop, and hey, that work comes first. You gotta make that dollar, because hey, it's expensive to live nowadays. But anyway, here's a little shot. We slide down to the field. I'm fixing to show you a neat little product. I'm getting some seed and stuff in the ground in the big seafood plot, and the first thing I wanted to do was, since it's been haired for a little while from the winter peas and stuff being in it, I wanted to check the pH on it. Now, Biologic makes a neat little unit that's a pH meter, and you're going to get a good picture of it here in a minute. But all you have to do with this thing is you can just go right out there into your field and make sure that there's some moisture in your dirt. And these things aren't expensive either. They don't break the bank, and that's what's good about it. So you just pick your spot like I'm doing right there and kind of dig it out and put you a little bit of water in it to make sure that it's wet, you know, so it can have some, I guess the water works in with the soil and makes a, you know, conductive for that tip that you see on the end of that rod right there. But this thing just sticks right down into the dirt, and you turn it on, and it will tell you what the pH of your soil is. And I was kind of hoping that the pH on this soil would be pretty good, because if you'll look, there's actually a small radish right there by my foot. And I haired this thing up and gave it quite a bit of time to allow it, you know, some of the stuff to rot in it and put some organic matter back into the soil. And I looked out, and the soil was 7.0, which is dead nuts perfect. And I checked it in several places. Not going to bore you with showing you that, but I mean, you know, checked it in several places and made sure I was getting an accurate reading all the way around. And I've already put about 300 pounds of fertilizer on this spot to make sure that it's right to get ready for what we're going to plant. That deer feeder that you see right there, we're fixing to move it, because what I'm putting in this field right now is power plant, and it's by Whitetail Institute, and it gets kind of tall. So we're going to move that feeder down to the other end of the field, and I think toward the end of the video you'll be able to see, you know, where we've set it. So now that I got the pH and everything checked on it, I knew I was ready to go ahead and try to put some seed in it, but the ground is still pretty uneven. So what I did was I managed to get me a rake from Tractor Supply, and I'm going to rake over this field right quick, and I'll show you a little video of doing it. The rake doesn't work as good as a drag. It covers pretty good, but now you can remove every other one of your tines in your rake, and they say it'll do a much better job on leveling soft dirt that's been haired. But I just kind of set it a 2-3 inches deep and got started it, because I mean I was running out of time. I didn't have time to start pulling teeth on it and all this kind of stuff. And I've got a drag, but now my drag is a nightmare to use. But me and John have come up with a plan. We're fixing to fix that thing to where it'll be real easy to use. We might even show you a video on what we're going to do with that. And in some of the clips when this thing is done out, if you notice that the tree stand, which is actually just our ground blind stand, is kind of leaning. Well, it is, because if you have a contest between your tractor and hair, and your deer stand, guess who wins? I didn't make a sharp enough turn, and I hung the edge of my leg for the stand on the hair and bent it. So John and I got to do some repairs on it. So we're going to grab it next week and bring it into the shop and fix it. But yeah, I managed to dent it. So let's all go ahead and have a nice laugh over that one, because trust me, when it happened, I wasn't laughing. I might have even been saying ugly things. You can't never tell. But anyway, the rake's doing a pretty good job, so I'm getting it raked down and getting it kind of flattened out, because if you dirt, I have found out if your dirt and everything is real uneven when you try to put this this seed out, and you spread the dirt over top of it, some of your seed, or majority of your seed, can get planted too deep and it won't come up. It'll try to germinate, but it won't come up. So took the rake and leveled it off and got it all going, and we're looking pretty good here. Alright, so here is where I moved the feeder to. I put it on the bottom end of the food plot, because you can't see it right now, but you'll be able to see it in an upcoming video. The next food plot that John and I are putting in that's this size is right on the other side of these trees on this end, and we've already made a connecting road into that area. And we've sprayed everything with glyphosate and getting it ready. So kind of what I want to do is have that feeder right there as they come right down that road that we've used to connect these two, because I found out these deer like to walk the path of least resistance. So they're going to try to walk right through there, and then they can walk right by the feeder. So you see me right now grabbing some whistleback. Whistleback is a product put out by Biologic, and it's some neat stuff. This stuff, it grows up and produces a seed head on the top of it, and then it grows up probably 4 foot high, and it lays over due to the weight of the seeds when it starts to die, and it puts those seeds down near the ground. And it's all kinds of stuff. You'll see this, you can see there's some sunflowers in there and all kinds of stuff. And it lays down on the ground and puts it close down for your quail, your turkey, and everything to eat. And I said here because a quail just whistled and I heard it, and I hope that y'all could hear it too. And what we did was we just backed off of the food plot. You see that grass right there to your left, and we just left a strip of that grass and made kind of like a soft edge coming up on the food plot out of the woods right here with this whistleback, because it's cover, and I mean the deer can get in it and everything too. Now I don't know if they'll mess around and eat these seed heads on this or not, because it's primarily, like I said, primarily designed for quail and turkey. But I want to put some of this in to feed the turkey. And there's enough seed in that bag, that small bag that you've seen, that you can do a spot 30 feet wide and 100 yards long. And it's not that expensive. This strip I did right here, I didn't use but half the bag. And then I've got a Scott spreader right there, and it wasn't working too good actually, because the sunflower seeds were hanging up in it. So I just started scattering it out by hand. And this seed is so small that I wasn't even going to bother about running the drag across it or anything like that, trying to cover it up, because it shouldn't be planted any deeper than 1/4 of an inch deep anyway. So I knew this rain that was coming in was going to be kind of hard. So I was hoping that it would just beat it right into the ground, and it did. So what I'm getting ready to do now is to put out the power plant, and that's Imperial Whitetail. It's by Whitetail Institute. And this stuff here, I've wanted to plant some of it for a really long time. It's a combination of a foraged soybean. So it's designed that if it can get up and get a couple leaves on it, even if they eat it to the ground, it'll come back. It's got sunflowers in it. It's got a climbing pea that can climb up the sunflowers. And it's supposed to make produce a lot of food for deer to eat. I mean, it's supposed to produce tons of forage, and on this 1 acre spot, I mean, we should really get a lot of it. And plus, it's super, super high in protein, which the bucks need because, hey, antler growth and all that kind of good stuff. So you can see it was heavy in soybean seed there. So I'm fixing to spread this out now over all of the rest of the food plot. I'm going to do the whole food plot in the power plant. All right, now we're fixing to get into something that, I mean, man, I hope this knocks my socks off. This is Turkey Select by Whitetail Institute. This is chufa. Now, from everything I can read, everything I've been told, chufa is like a magnet for turkeys. This is a rather large seed, so I'm scattering it out by hand. And 1 bag of that product you see me holding it will do a 1/4 of an acre. You plant this stuff in our area in May, and you just let it go. And I'm planting it on the upper end of this food plot because this area that you see us standing in right now, or excuse me, walking down through, is a little more sandier than what's down there on my left. And from all the research I've done on it and everything I can find out, you want to kind of plant it in the sandier soil because it's easier for the turkeys to scratch up, because now they say that they will annihilate this stuff, and I hope they do. So I'm running along here, scattering it out, and gonna get some good coverage down through this strip right here. That's probably, I don't know, it's probably 30 feet wide, and gonna be it'll be about 125 yards long, and plant it down through here, and hopefully we're supposed to have some more rain coming in today or tonight, and it'll get a good rain on it, and it'll bust out of the ground. And there's some deer tracks. You see them right there where I was out here yesterday and went over this and raked it, and they already walking around taking a look, seeing what's in the fresh dirt. So while I was over there, I had went ahead and threw some corn into the back of the Gator because I moved that feeder yesterday to this spot. And I don't know if you noticed it or not down there. There was already a set of tracks coming right up to the feeder, but the feeder was empty. And that's not a good thing, but it did go empty on me. And one had walked right up there to it and noticed there wasn't no corn in it. And I guess they got ticked off because they turned around and just kept right on going. But like I said, me and John's been super busy, but we fixing to fix things where they won't be running out of no corn no more, and they'll have plenty of victuals to eat. So I went ahead and put about 100 pounds into this feeder. And I'm getting old because, man, these 50-pound bags was heavy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I wonder if I'm getting more than 50 pounds in here. But then I realized, hey, but dude, you're almost 60, so come on. Yeah, but it was a good thing I got them filled up when I did, because I think right there's the entrance. If you look straight ahead of you, right there's the entrance into the second spot that John and I are going to be fixing. And it's right on the other side of those trees, and that's why I put this feeder here, like I was talking to you earlier. So hopefully, I got it. Hopefully I got the feeder in a good location, And in that second spot, we're going to plant something different. We're not going to put power plant there. Matter of fact, I got a new product from 4S Wildlife called Summer Success that we're going to put in that spot. And I'll tell you all about it when we plant it and show that field getting prepped. Moved my camera and got it set up to record on a different angle and show what's coming up to the feeder and show what's coming across the field. And see, I've also got it setting back kind of in the edge of the woods, but also in line with the road that's going to be leading into the second food plot over there on that side from the Big C. I don't know how many of you have got a drag like this, but I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I don't like this thing the way it is. Oh man, I don't like it. For one, now it's a heavy duty drag, don't get me wrong, but for one, it's about 400 cotton picking pounds, feels like. And it just doesn't act right. You can't get it to do right. And yes, I'm hooked backwards to it right now because I was just trying to get done. And from where I had it laying, grass had already grown up around it, so I had to snatch it out of the ground to be able to use it. But John and I are fixing to do a little engineering. We're going to build a frame to hook to this thing to where I can raise it up and down on the 3-point lift and just use Fergie. Fergie's my tractor. That's the nickname for my tractor. And use Fergie to move it around and all that kind of stuff where we don't have to manhandle it anymore. So, got the drag hooked up and just wanted to pull it to cover up that seed and snatched it across the top of it about 3 times and had the chufa covered up real good. And now we're waiting on the rain. So anyway, we want to thank everybody that has subscribed to the channel. We're getting closer and closer to the subscriber giveaway. I think we're sitting at 81 subscribers now. Hey, we really do appreciate it. We'll be back now to checking comments and everything. If you leaving them on there, we appreciate everybody liking the videos because that's helping us out on YouTube. So, listen, me and John both hope that you find you a lot of game in your bag and you get a lot of fish on your line and you spend some time in your great outdoors, because until you find us next time, we're going to be right here in the great outdoors of Colquitt County. We'll see y'all all next time. Thanks for watching.